Very good evening to all of you. I welcome you to this session, XAT 2023 VALR Answer Key discussion. So the official answer keys are out. I'm sure all of you know that. Let's discuss all the questions of the VALR section and let's clarify any doubts that you may have. Right? Before that, give me a thumbs up that you are here and that I am audible, visible, everything is fine. Right. Hi Ayush. Welcome to the session. Okay, things seem fine. So let's begin. Okay, we'll launch into the question straight away. If you have any queries in any question, just stop me there. Just ask me whichever option is a query, just highlight that and I'll clarify. Okay, let's begin. Okay, so this was the first question for some of us. Now here, this is a grammar question and you had to identify the correct sentences. So quickly tell me what the answer should be here. The correct sentences. Yes, Prakshit, tell me. So, what is wrong with 1? Is something wrong with 1? Yes. Tell me. So, 6 seems to, so this is how I actually approach these questions. I either search for glaring errors or I see that, okay, which sentences seem fine to me. So, I have been working on this project for 3 weeks, seemed absolutely fine to me grammatically. Whereas 5 seems wrong. Amitabh Bachchan is married with Jaya Bachchan. No, so he's married to Jaya Bachchan, not with Jaya Bachchan. So 5 is wrong, right? And that eliminates 3 options right away. 6 seems correct to me. So 3, 4, 6 is what I am inclined to, right? The government has entered into a discussion with the local bodies for keeping the streets clean. Okay. I'll start my world tour from Sri Lanka, right? Seems fine. Okay, then tell me something. What is wrong with 1? Yes. Why is 1 not the answer? What is wrong with it? Tell me. So, the thing that is wrong with 1, although you did not really need to be bothered about it in the exam, is that when we use the ordinals, these are ordinals, right? First, second, third, fourth, fifth. These are called ordinals. And ordinals always require the article the before them, right? We studied this, the first president. So the 8th of January, that's how we should write it. Otherwise we should say January 8th, not January 8th. The 8th of January, either put it like this or say January 8th. So 1 is indeed incorrect and therefore D cannot be the answer. It is 3, 4, 6. 3, 4 and 6. They are the ones that are correct. This is the official answer that has been extended. Right? Hope this makes sense to you. Okay. Any queries? As I said, you can keep asking. 18 will be a great percentile, Arjun. If you have a score of 18 in VLR, you have crossed 99 easily. That's my opinion. And because see, last year I had an 18.5 and I had a 99.9 at that. So at an 18, I am assuming that, okay, you should cross a 99. Okay. What would be the percentile goal? I'll have to check. Okay, I'll have to just refer to my notes there, right? My score versus percentile notes, and then tell you what the percentile would be. Okay. All right. So 1, the answer is C. I hope this is clear to everyone, and we can proceed to this contentious, controversial question. By the way, you can raise an objection towards this question. Why? Because I do not think the answer that has been extended to this Parajumble is indeed the correct answer. And how am I so sure? One is that in the exam itself, I realized that these two here, 1 and 4, they should come together. I'm not sure when I first became aware of the singularity. I would have to say it was a progressive awakening. It was something that happened gradually. So I'm not really sure when exactly it happened. I would have to say it was progressive. It was something that was gradual. So to me, 1 and 4 look like a pair in the exam as well. Okay. And then I came back and I checked the source of this Parajumble. So it has been taken from this source. Okay. Penguin Random House website. And there also, if you look at the sequence, if you look at how the author has put it, the sequence should be 1, 4, 2, 3, 5. Whereas none of your options give this sequence 1, 4, 2, 3, 5. Okay, with the closest that we have is 4, 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay, 41235. I think they should have actually put it as 14235. It was perhaps a mistake, but somehow the answer that they've extended is not making sense at all, right? The answer that they've extended is 13452, which I do not agree with, right? So in my opinion, it should be 14235, and it makes sense also. See, 1 and 4 form a link because the author is not sure when. The author then says, I would have to say it was a progressive awakening. Then 2 says, in the almost half century. So the author is now telling you that he has dedicated so much time, he or she has dedicated so much time to it. In the almost half century that I have immersed myself in computer and related technologies, I have sought to understand the meaning and purpose of the continual upheaval that I have witnessed at many levels. So the author is now telling you the span of the duration of his or her work, right? Gradually, then what happened? Right? Gradually, I have become aware of a transforming event. And this, I think 3 and 5 forms a very clear pair because it then explains this transforming event, something that will dramatically transform. So there were a lot of clues to say that 3, 5 is a pair. Okay, so I don't understand their rationale behind extending the answer as 13452. I think you can safely challenge this, right? So going to the next one then, now that this is clear. Question 3. This is again a grammar question. You have to identify the incorrect sentences. Yes. So I think the good thing about grammar questions in XAT 2023 was that even if you realized one sentence that was incorrect, you could eliminate very smartly and answer this. Right. So the boss accused her employee for stealing information. Okay, in fact, it is, I think, one of the CAT previous year questions also, when CAT used to ask grammar, where we, ask this, accused of versus some other preposition. It is always accused of, not any other preposition. So 1 is incorrect. Okay, 1 is definitely incorrect. Now I just have to look at 2 versus 5. Okay, the boss had better discuss the issue with the employee concerned. Some of you may have got confused here. Did you? You may have. Why? Because this structure seems very awkward. Had better discuss the issue, right? Now, if you look at 5, he is good in playing the piano. This is something that is wrong. Okay, it's a glaring error. You're always good at some area of expertise, good at some area of expertise, and good in a language. Good in a language. Now see, I clearly remember one of the students told me that Vikrant sir discussed this in one of his sessions on TISNET. So in case some of you were, let's say by luck, some of you attended it, then you knew this, that it's always in a language and at an area of expertise. In fact, one of the students asked me this question personally as well via Telegram. So then that student thanked me later. I think Chirag asked me. So he's good at playing the piano, at and not in. So 5 is a glaring error. Once I realize this, I know A is my answer. Now 2 is, it's an idiomatic structure. This is how we put it. And this has been questioned earlier as well in XAT. So in case you practice previous year papers of XAT, you must have encountered this structure there as well. You had better do this quickly. You had better do this quickly, right? Some related sentence was there in one of the XAT previous year papers. That means, it's a sort of a cautionary way of saying something, kar lo aisa. The boss had better discuss, usko kar lena chahiye. That's the tone there. It's a cautionary warning sort of a tone when we utter this, when we use this structure, right? So I hope this is clear to you. See, as far as VALR is concerned, a lot of you are asking me the score versus percentile things. The responses have been on the expected lines, right? There have not been any huge variations as such. So whatever we told you in the score versus percentile discussion that happened during the analysis, I stick to that for VALR. Right? For DM, for quant, you'll have sessions and then you can discuss there the score versus percentile equation. If you ask me, I mean, it was similar to previous year. Even if I compare the XAT VLR of previous year with this year, it was just slightly easier, right? So very similar score versus percentiles, in my opinion, we are going to see. I hope that helps. Okay. All right. Now, coming to question number 4. Now, this is something that confused a lot of you. Which of the following sentences have the correct usage of punctuation? So look at this, just look at this for a moment and give me the response. Yes, I want a response from you. A lot of you are very worried about the score versus percentile. Just relax for a moment. Look at this question. Tell me the answer. Yes. Tell me. What in your opinion should be the answer? Don't go by the official answer key. Okay, we'll look at whether the answer key is correct or not. You tell me what you have had marked in the exam. Okay, what you think is the correct answer. ठीक है, वो बताओ मुझे. All right, no response so far. Waiting for your response. Then only I'll proceed. Yes. Okay. E, all right. E is correct. Okay. Now, let's have a look. See, what was wrong with the other options? Italy is famous for its composers and musicians. Now, France for its chefs and philosophers. So basically, what has happened here is the complete sentence should have been France is famous for its chefs and musicians and philosophers. Is famous for, but we skipped this is famous. Yes, what we did was we skipped this is famous because we felt that it was clear from the context that this is what we are saying. So whenever we skip some words, whenever we do that, we should place a comma to show that here we have skipped some words because they were clear from the context, right? So that is why this is wrong. Okay, this is wrong because it says there. France is one country. We can't use there, right? Again there. So I think B and C very easily you could have eliminated. This is not even a complete sentence. How can we place a full stop here? So I think students were confused between A and E in the exam, and E is the better answer choice. Okay, the correct answer choice in fact. A is incorrect. Why? Because we needed this comma. Okay, also one more thing, if you notice this, we need an and here. It's the end of a list, no? So that before the last element of the list, you need to place and. That was missing in A. So I think that became my decisive criterion when I was sitting in the exam, that and nahi hai usme mein, E is a better answer choice. Right? Okay, someone was asking the percentile at 32 marks. See if again things go according to our prediction, then I am expecting that you would score somewhere in the range of 96 to 96 से plus आएगा. Okay, 96.5 perhaps. That's what I am expecting. Okay, for an overall 32. All right. Let's go to the fifth one. There won't be any comma before and. Oh, okay. JV, that's a good, actually, you've raised a pertinent point, that why am I placing a comma before and? And is sufficient in itself. So I don't really need a comma before and, yes? This is called an Oxford comma. Okay, this is something that I have covered in my sessions, in my grammar sessions. This comma is not essential. You are right. It's not essential, but it's not wrong either. It is added for clarity so that your sentence is crystal clear. Okay, this is one element, this is second element, this is third element. Okay, तो ये clarity के लिए add करते हैं हम. Essential नहीं होता and के पहले वाला comma, इसको Oxford comma बोलते हैं. But it's not wrong. Okay, so that's why E. So this was a difficult grammar question. Okay. Now, let's have a look at the fifth one, critical reasoning. So what do you say? Yes. 80 percentile cross. Uh, can't really comment on this. Can't really comment on this. We'll have to see, because it all depends on whether the overall cutoff goes slightly higher this time or not. It will depend on that. Okay, if it goes slightly higher, then it's a little difficult. Otherwise, you may, because the score jump is pretty high at lower percentiles. You know this, right? If you've attended our sessions, you know this. So you may, right, if let's say there is not a significant jump in the cutoff, overall cutoff score. All right. Question 5. Yes. I think this was easy. Yes. It basically, and it was talking about your generation. Yes. As a generation, we are rethinking what we are to others. So basically, there's a change that's happening. We are rethinking, right? Our technological prowess has become a wireless lifeline for others. Some of us apply ourselves to innovation. Our families look to us to know how to use technology, both to waste time and to make meaning. Some of us, then this gives an example, right? We show them it will be okay, that digital relationships are real relationships, though in fact we are not always sure. So it seems like things are changing, right? So if you say it has increased societal dependence, that's not the tone of the entire paragraph. See, tone matters a lot. Students ignore tone like anything, thinking tone pe to question aata hi nahi exam mein. But look at this, the tone is not entirely negative, right? It also talks about the positive things, that some of us set up FaceTime for those denied face-to-face time, right? So our previous generations are relying on us to help them with technology. So it's not an entirely negative tone, and it doesn't really talk about dependence, right? Then change is the only constant in life, extreme. So people must embrace technology. The author hasn't really given any such, extreme suggestions. Be eliminated easily. Then between C, D, and D, technology usage has changed. Yes, see, this is milder also, and it has changed social relations, which is what we talk about. So definitely C is the answer, right? Derive meaning from work. No, we also use it to waste time. Destroying, extreme again. So a pretty easy question this was. Okay. All right. Question 6. Yes, this was the easiest parajumble out there. You didn't really have to arrange it, isn't it? So, tell me, what should the answer be here? It is absolutely 1, 2, 3, 4, and it was very, very easy. There were so many clues here, right? This long history. So, over the centuries, this long history. I'll talk about the year 1953. In that year, again, so 1, 2, 3. Once you realize that you've answered this already, and then this details the experiment. This is the experiment. So, a pretty easy question. Okay, coming to question 7. So do not worry. I'll request our team to have a session on score versus percentile. Don't worry about that, right? This session is meant for helping you with any queries that you may have, right? Some of you may not be convinced with some answers. You may be thinking, oh, whether I should raise an objection or not. So this session is meant for that, okay? Let's try to stick to that. So question 7, critical reasoning. Which of the following sentences will most logically complete the above excerpt? So para completion. Yes. I am sure you were confused between two options here. So tell me, which were those two options? Yes, Saptarshi, yes. But this has happened in, I have seen it in a couple of other exams as well. Okay. So I think you could have narrowed down to these two options here, yes? C versus E. Because we are talking about this potential of hydrogen, and the very first sentence is very significant here. In the future, hydrogen may form a significant part of our energy systems. And the rest of the paragraph is devoted to how that will happen, right? All of that. So this is a suggestion or a prediction. It's sort of a prediction that is being made here, that it may form a significant part. So today it is restricted to this, but in the future it could power our cars, heat our homes, etc. Then a McKinsey study suggested that in less than 25 years it could account for. Look at the tone. We are talking about something that may happen regarding hydrogen, And this is related to it becoming a significant part of our energy systems. So the rest of the sentences have this tone that, okay, this could happen, that could happen. So the potential, the predicted impact, that's what we are discussing. But if you look at C, this has a negative tone. Despite the potential, 90% of the general population knew nothing about hydrogen technology. Would I end this paragraph on this negative note? I won't, okay. And moreover, this is sort of introducing a new issue. I would rather talk about it in the next paragraph or in some other paragraph and not as the last sentence of this paragraph. So the last sentence would, in this line, continue to talk about the predicted impact, right? So the impact of such a change in the energy system, see, energy system would be huge. Again, predictions, estimations, potentially generating so and so revenue and so jobs. Hence, option E. Okay. So E is the answer. No, C could not have easily been the answer, Anirban. The tone does not match the rest of the paragraph, and it's sort of introducing a new issue. Why would I introduce it in the last sentence of a paragraph? Okay. So question 8. Yes. Most seriously weakens. So this was a tricky question. I would state this at the outset. Let me know your thoughts on this. What did you mark? Yes. Which options did you mark? D and E. Okay, these are the two options that I've got, and these were the options that I was expecting also from you. Right. Now let's have a look why D is a better answer choice versus E. Okay. I'll be very honest with you. I marked E in the exam. Okay. However, the official answer extended is D. And now I sort of understand also why D is the answer. See this. Now these people, what are they looking for when they search the internet? See, the individuals who experience depression will often attempt to understand their predicament and seek remedy by searching the internet for depression related information and treatment. So treatment is also an essential part, right? A recent report says that there exists evidence of many searches comprising the word depression during and just after the elections in country Y, right? So, and now see how we are phrasing depression as a truly psychologically traumatizing event, something that would need treatment, right? These people are seeking remedies, right? The word remedy was also there. Yes, seek remedy here. I didn't read this part perhaps, right? So truly psychologically traumatizing event, and as such as being potentially depressionogenic, something that can give birth to depression, right? So now if you look at E, it says depression related advertisements are on the rise during and just after the election in country Y. I have two problems with this now. Okay, now that I understand why D is better. First is, what do these advertisements talk about? Okay, do they, I mean, when I say depression related advertisements, right? What is the exact content? Are they actually talking to people about, let's say, the symptoms, etc.? Or, what are they talking about? It's not clear. That's pretty vague, right? Similarly, where are these advertisements being played, right? So what is their relation with elections? As in, let's say I am somebody who's involved in the elections, right? So I'm let's say following it on TV, but where are these advertisements being broadcast, being telecast? That has not been stated. So maybe somebody who's following elections is not even watching these advertisements. That is my contention, right? So somebody who's following the elections may not be watching these advertisements. Plus it's a little vague as compared to D, which clearly talks about remedy or treatment, anti-depression drugs. And that is why when I say that per day sale तो constant ही है, that means अगर election के time पर कोई fluctuation नहीं है, so we can't conclude that elections are perceived as a truly psychologically traumatizing event. Because if that were the case, something related to this must have happened. Some fluctuation must have happened, right? Hence D Delhi as compared to E. Okay, but it was a tricky, challenging question. I agree there, right? Okay. Hope this is clear. If not, then please mention this in the chat box. If you have any queries related to any questions, that is what this session is for. Okay. Coming to question 9. Again, this is a critical reasoning question, right? And we have to give what can be best inferred from the paragraph above, right? So this was our paragraph. This was an easy question because it says that the fundamental laws that govern the smallest constituents of matter and energy when applied to the universe over long enough cosmic timescales can explain everything that will ever emerge. See how sure this person is, right? So that means that the laws that are operating at this level, the small level, will also operate at the universe level. This becomes quite evident from the first sentence itself. And thus, D is the answer here. E goes against this. So E is the opposite of D. E should have been eliminated. This is nowhere stated that all phenomena in the universe are fundamentally dependent on long cosmic timescales. This is not stated. Maybe the small events, okay, the smaller phenomena or the phenomena comprising smaller constituents, they are not dependent on long time scales. So this is something that we cannot say, we cannot conclude, we cannot infer. Okay, whether all of them occur spontaneously or not, I don't know. See, extreme, eliminated. Everything occurs randomly. Who said this? I mean, my paragraph didn't say this. So alien, extreme, just the opposite of what the passage says. Easy question, right? DM, you'll have a session with Savitri ma'am at 8 p.m. So she'll clarify your queries regarding DM, okay? I expect the DM percentile, the DM score to go a little higher because a lot of the questions this time were rational with very clear, correct answer choices, right? So, see, it remains to be seen how much higher it will go, right? Coming to another question. This was pretty interesting, okay? It took me a while to figure this out, what the answer should be. You know, the impulse here is to mark which option? If you remember this question, otherwise take some time and read it. Mukul, I agree with you. And that is why I marked E as the answer, right? So this is a contentious question that way. That's why I said that, you know, it is tricky. The thing is that, see, I am not able to challenge D also outrightly. That is my problem here, right? That I'm not able to challenge D outrightly. Why? Because E में भी ये clear नहीं है. वो advertisements उन्होंने जो elections follow कर रहे हैं उन्होंने देखे भी हैं या नहीं देखे हैं. The people who've been following the elections, have they watched those advertisements or not? That is not clear. Plus, what did those advertisements exactly talked about? Whereas in D, it's the treatment or remedy part is clearer. It's a very pertinent point that you are raising, that people who are seeking a remedy may not really consider an antidepressant. It may not have come to that. But at the same time, the tone of the paragraph is truly psychologically traumatizing event, right? So that sort of led me to feel that, okay, the passage is going for something extreme, something that is depressionogenic, truly traumatizing. In that case, a person might need antidepressant drugs. So that's why I feel that, okay, D can be justified. So as long as something can be justified, no, you cannot raise an objection to it. Okay, so E can be justified as being wrong and D can be justified as being correct. And that's why you can't raise an objection there. Okay. All right. Organizations are changing. You are absolutely right. That is the answer here. And why not this one? Some of the students felt that because बहुत सारे online के examples दिए हुए थे, so that's why this is the answer. How automation is taking away jobs traditionally done by humans. But if you read the last examples carefully, they did not have anything to do with that. Okay. Moreover, this was not written anywhere that traditional jobs have been, taken away. Maybe in some examples, but I don't remember this being constant throughout, right? So I remember that I made my decision based on these last few examples. The consulting firm Accenture has 750 hospital nurses on its staff, while Deloitte, founded as an audit practice 170 years ago, now has over 200,000 professionals and its own full-scale corporate university set in 700,000 square foot campus in Texas. Does it show anything about automation taking away traditional jobs? No, rather it shows something unusual happening. A consulting firm having hospital nurses, right? A company, an MNC having a university. It was not usual earlier, right? So it is not about automation taking away jobs. It is rather about how new organizational structures are emerging, right? So that is the answer and not C. Nobody said anything about old firms dying. No solutions have been presented. No replacement has been discussed, right? So it had to be D. Hope this makes sense. Yes, I hope so. Okay. Some response from you will be appreciated. My God, this was a difficult question. Yes, tricky. This was tricky. I then checked its source on coming back. This was taken, these are the words of some painter which have been quoted here, right? And this was from an NYT article, I believe, if I'm not wrong. I'll tell you the exact source. I have it with me. Now, tell me what all you marked and why you think that the answer that has been extended is probably not correct. Some of you may have that query. Yes. See, I felt in the exam, ye wala easiest blank tha, wasn't it? The third blank was the easiest. So I started elimination using the third blank. And accordingly, I eliminated A and useless. See, it's basically talking about how things became very transactional and how we reduced things to objects, right? Oil painting did to appearance what capital did to social dash. It reduced everything to the dash of objects. So it reduced everything to objects. So a sort of commodification happened, right? Everything became a commodity. So everything became useless because it became a commodity. No. Expensive, not necessary. Commercial, exchangeable, saleable, these fit. So A and D eliminated. Now let's look at the other options. If you look at the second blank, now I come to the second blank, minuteness, randomness, equality. So everything, basically we reduced everything as and started treating them as equal to objects. You know, we made everything equal to objects. So that idea is very appealing in a sentence that talks about how things became commodified. Commodification हो गई चीजों की, हम हर चीज को एक commodity समझने लगे, right? So minuteness and randomness do not fit that well, as does equality. Okay, that was my thought. But then also I was not quite sure, right? I wanted to be sure. So I looked at this one. All reality was mechanically. So with mechanically, see, mechanical measures hote hain, right? All your, so when you use a scale, when you measure something, that's a mechanical measure. Kilometer, liter, these are mechanical measures. So all reality. So, and it went very well with the idea of making everything exchangeable, saleable. All reality was mechanically measured by its materiality, by just looking at the material thing and not really going deep into the core, right? We were just looking at the material things, right? So measured fitted there for me. And social relations. So capital, when capitalism arrived in our society, it changed our social relations. Things became hierarchical. There became an owner class emerged, a worker class emerged. This owner class exploited the worker class. So our social relations changed. So social के साथ relations भी perfect जा रहा था, right? And that's why I marked C as the answer here. Okay, social justice, anyway, I eliminated A easily. Social reality, basically our social, I mean, things became very materialistic in the society. So relations fits better here as compared to reality or setup or construction for that matter. New Yorker, yes, New Yorker is the source. Correct. Not NYT, my bad. So C is the answer here. I hope this makes sense to you. And now basically the idea is that you should also be convinced why something is the answer. That's what this session is for, right? Critical reasoning, which one of the following must also be true? Yes, if something is true, which one of the following must also be true? This was a logical consistency question. Let's understand this, right? If then, either or, वो वाला question था. Okay. The leave policy is bound to be unpopular either with the management or among workers. So not popular either with the management or among workers, either or. If it is unpopular with the management, it should be modified. If it is unpopular with the workers, we should adopt a new policy. So this is the outcome here. Right. So there are two if-then statements, one either-or statement. Okay. Now, why is this the answer? If the leave policy is popular with the management, then we should adopt a new policy. See, if it is popular with the management, what does that imply? What does that imply? If something is popular with the management, we said that either it is not popular, either not popular with the management, or not popular with the workers, right? So now I am saying, what am I saying? That it is popular with the management. It is popular with the management. That means this thing did not happen. This thing did not happen. So when this thing did not happen, that means this happened. That means this happened. That means it is not popular with the workers. Yes. और अगर वर्कर्स के साथ पॉपुलर नहीं है तो हमने क्लियरली दिया हुआ वी शुड अडॉप्ट अ न्यू पॉलिसी, राइट? सो यूजिंग दिस आइदर और एंड दीज टू इफ्स, यूजिंग देयर रिलेशंस, दिस comes out to be the answer. This was a logical consistency question, right? I hope this makes sense. अगर वो मैनेजमेंट के साथ पॉपुलर है दैट मीन्स ये वाला नहीं हुआ, और अगर ये आउटकम नहीं हुआ दैट मीन्स ये डेफिनेटली हुआ है. आइदर और का लॉजिक ही यही होता है, राइट? अगर वो वर्कर्स के साथ पॉपुलर नहीं है तो हमने ऑलरेडी दिया हुआ है कि क्या होना चाहिए. सो वी शुड अडॉप्ट अ न्यू पॉलिसी, राइट? सो दिस इज हाउ यू हैड टू अटेम्प्ट इट यूजिंग दीज थ्री. होप दिस मेक्स सेंस. The other options do not make sense from the perspective of logical consistency. Okay? So all you needed to identify here was that it was a logical consistency question. And now we come to this one, your RC passages and poem comprehension. But I see something in the chat box. Let me read it. In the punctuation question, Grammarly and writer grammar checkers are both showing punctuation errors in the correct answer and recommending use of semicolons. Mukul, there are 2-3 ways of writing it actually. And I absolutely understand why they are showing semicolons. So a very good question you raised here. Let me just tell you why they are showing semicolons. See, ideally speaking, these are 3 different sentences, 3 independent clauses, right? Now, when we join 3 independent clauses means something that can stand on its own 2 feet, something that is complete in its own right. We should join them using semicolons, and hence perhaps they are showing semicolons. And when we use semicolons, we can skip the and. The and is not necessary then, right? So one way of writing it is, yes, this, that I put semicolons here. However, one school of thought among grammarians is this, that now that I have deleted the is famous, for here, right, it does not retain that structure. It does not retain that structure of a strictly independent clause. वो structure retain नहीं करता, तो commas acceptable हैं. Moreover, grammar is pretty malleable that way. For instance, in Oxford English Grammar says that ideally you should join independent clauses using semicolons. Ideally यही होना चाहिए. But when the sentences are short, you can join them using commas also, right? So for instance, if you have read this quote, I came, I saw, I conquered, you would often see that we use commas here. I came, I saw, I conquered. जूलियस सीजर का कोट है. अब ideally तो देखो ये complete sentences हैं. I came, I saw, I conquered. Ideally, semicolons should come here. But because these are such short structures, commas are allowed. So that's why this is also grammatically acceptable. This is actually a GMAT question. I was surprised that XAT lifted a GMAT question. Okay, it has been straight away lifted. बहुत change भी नहीं करा हुआ. And if you look at the explanations, there are three possible ways of writing it. Okay, this is one of those ways. This is also a correct way. That is also a correct way. Right? Grammarly and all. So there is one input that has been usually fed into them, right? And therefore they follow that algo और वो उसी को follow करते हैं, right? And a lot of times they show suggestions as per American English. Although इसमें American British का कुछ है नहीं, I'm just telling you that don't treat it as something that's absolute. Okay? All right. Now look at this one. 13 to 15. This is an RC passage. This was the easiest of the lot, in my opinion. Yes. Global warming. Any query that you have in 13 to 15. Hyper object. I think this was a pretty easy question. Will be the closest to the idea of hyper object. This was defined right in the beginning. What is a hyper object? Something that's very difficult to touch and feel. Because hyperobjects have much wider time-space boundaries than human beings, we tend to consider hyperobjects as given and non-existent. Right? So I think this is the key here. Wider time-space boundaries than human beings. That means हमारी lifespan से बड़ा lifespan होगा. Right? Follows from this. So there was just one option where for sure we can say this, that okay, the time-space boundaries would be wider than human beings. This one. How the earth over centuries takes less time to revolve around the sun. So I cannot live to see that, right? This entire transition. Regular exercise, yes, I can live to see it. Then this again, I can live to see. Temperature fluctuates, of course, we all live to see this. Hard work leads to better grades for students. Yes, absolutely. In your lifetime, you can witness that. So A is the answer here. 14th question. Not an example of human-centric statement. See, I think you did not need to go back for this, right? Human-centric क्या है? जो human beings की तरफ focused हो. Yes, focused on human beings. So, we should preserve nature for our future generations. वो भी तो humans ही है ना? So this is human-centric. We should not cut trees as it causes excessive floods, which destroying crops and human habitats. Again, we are focused on human beings. We should respect nature for its inherent intelligence. Nature has its own intelligence. What are we focused on here? Human beings or nature? Nature. So C is going to be our answer. Okay. Economic growth, definitely human-centric, so not the answer. As they provide us with oxygen. See, us, aa gaye us. Dobara se we've come to us. We're so selfish. Yes. So these are again human-centric. C is the answer. Okay. How about 15th? Yes. This was an interesting question. I think some of you may have got this incorrect. Yes. Anybody who has a query here? Some of you may have marked 1 and 3 only, yes? Although you are right now being shy and not telling me that. I think there's a significant lag, is there? Just a second. No, not a significant lag. Okay. E is the answer here. Why not C? And so this is what students told me they were confused between, right? Some of them asked me this question after we were done with the exam. And 2 is something that is also not in consonance. Consonance means in line with, in consistency with. This is also not in consonance. Why? There is one sentence in the passage that justifies this. Okay, let me show you that sentence itself. See this. Business as usual, the current model. So our current model of economic production is business as usual. Okay. The current model of economic production and distribution is deeply flawed. So business as usual is deeply flawed as it is based mainly on the capitalistic ethos of free market legitimized. How is this free market legitimized? Through private property. So patents. patents private property. Competition. This is what justifies two as not being in consonance. Okay. And unlimited consumption, building a resort on a treetop, on a hilltop, sorry, that was what was given. So competition is the idea that is captured in two. Trading of shares on the free stock markets should be promoted. So we are promoting competition this way, right? On the free stock markets. And this is also not in line with the author's views, because ये किसकी है? ये capitalistic ethos है, which the author is against. Hence 1, 2 and 3 is the answer. Hope this makes sense to you. If not, please ask. Okay, I want you to be a little more responsive. Thoda sa look more alive. Be more enthusiastic. Yes. Was this one challenging for some of you? Interpretation. Okay, let's have a look at this. Question 16. What does the author mean by, thus interpretation is not a gesture of mind situated in some timeless realm of capabilities, right? So the author says this here. Yeah, this is the complete sentence. So first of all, you should read the complete sentence. Thus interpretation is not, as most people assume, an absolute value, a gesture of mind situated in some timeless realm of capabilities. So it is not that. It is not an absolute value. Then what is it? Interpretation must itself be evaluated within a historical view of human consciousness. You should evaluate even your interpretation, right? So reading the context helps here. Anybody who marked B, C, D here? Interpretation is an act of understanding developed by timeless experts? No, the author is denying that. Okay. Erecting another meaning on top of the literal one, that is not what I can infer from this sentence. Okay, I have to stick to this sentence also, isn't it? Sentence mein aisa kuch nahi hai. Interpretation is being evaluative of the meaning created by an authority. Okay, let me keep this in the fold. But created by an authority was not something that I encountered here, right? Timeless realm of capabilities must be evaluated, but authority की कहीं बात नहीं हुई भी. So this authority becomes alien in this context. Eliminated. E. It's an act of mind which is situated in a changeless domain. Changeless? No, it rather keeps changing. So E. False. False, alien, not something that I can infer from here. A is the answer. Revisiting, reinventing meanings. That is what interpretation is about. Okay, and this was something that was given to us also, that it must also be evaluated. 17th, yes. Any queries in this? Not an act of interpretation. See, all of them involve searching, finding, investigating, critical appreciation when you analyze something. Here, by critical appreciation, we mean analytical, an analysis of a literary text, right? So I remember back in school, our teachers used to make us write critical appreciations of various poems, right? So analysis hota tha poem ka wo. So to understand is to interpret. I still remember this sentence from the RC passage. To understand is to interpret, or to interpret is to understand. Yes, something of that sort here. So in all of these, we are trying to understand it. No, searching, finding, investigating, and analyzing. But यहाँ पर तो कुछ ऐसा है ही नहीं. We are simply labeling a text as blasphemous. Something that says something against an established religion, right? That is blasphemous. तो यहाँ पर तो कुछ analysis, understanding है ही नहीं. Is the answer here. Okay, hope this makes sense. Okay. This was the easiest out of the lot, a very direct question. Manifest or latent. The word latent itself means hidden, and A is the answer here. If you have any query, ask me. Otherwise, I don't think that any of you would have got it wrong. Okay, बहुत ही direct question, और passage में भी दिया हुआ था ये manifest और latent content का meaning भी दिया हुआ था. In fact, I remember that. So I marked this in like 10-15 seconds. Okay. Coming to question 19. Yes. So this was a challenging RC. It was short, but it required advanced comprehension, right? Procrastination. 19th, yes. Any two options that you're confused between? Please ask. Please tell me. Tell me. Okay, there's this deafening silence in the chat box, right? Seems like right now we just care about our scores and percentiles and not really knowing what the correct answer is. That actually shows me that probably this is the last entrance test that you gave, and you're not planning on giving it, let's say, TISNET or on taking TISNET or any other entrance test. Okay. So what is the best reason for procrastination? Students narrowed down to these two. Time is underestimated for a particular task. Time is not planned according to the task. It's not that we were not taking time into account, eliminated. Linear, non-linear, ये discussion था ही नहीं passage में. So this is alien. Okay, time is estimated according to the new task. No, there is definitely basically we are not planning it well. That was there, right? See, it will, the planning fallacy. Esther thinks that people underestimate the time it will take them to complete a given task. So, very easy question. A is the answer. Okay. Because not planned mein to you can overestimate the time also. No, that possibility is also there, or leaning on the other side, right? So, A is the best choice in line with the passage as well. Then 20th, best inferred from the passage about procrastination. Now here students could have got confused in some of the options. So what did you mark? Yes, tell me. 20th. So, myopic vision, linear thinking, very easy to eliminate. Nothing of this sort was there in the passage, right? It is a success of planning. Oh my God, that just, it's so false. Yes. If there were degrees of falsity, it is highly false, if I could say that, right? It is a tendency of so this is a literal definition. This is a definition, tendency of postponing the present work to the future, right? So I am saying what can be best inferred from the passage about procrastination. Passage का क्या take है? Author का क्या stance है? Right? This is what you had to mark. This is too literal a definition. This does not capture the author's stance on it. B says it is an irrational delay. But in the very first paragraph, the author says that, we are not irrational, right? We are not irrational human beings. See, Socrates said this, that we could not want what is bad for us. That means we are not irrational beings, right? So why are we then procrastinating? Because हमें पता ही नहीं चल पा रहा है, right? It's because of our ignorance. So irrational is eliminated for that reason. It is an act against our own interests because of our ignorance. This very aptly captures the essence of this entire passage, both the paragraphs. Okay, and the focus of the passage is on ignorance itself. So A should be the answer and not B, because irrational nahi hai hum. Socrates बोल रहा है, we could not want what is bad for us. If we act against our own interest, it must be because we don't know what's right. हमें पता ही नहीं है कि सही क्या है, तो तब हम इरैशनल नहीं हुए ना. इरैशनल मतलब हमें पता है क्या सही है और हम तब भी वो नहीं कर रहे हैं, राइट? ओके, hence E. Okay, then 21, closest to our memory for this one was confusing, genuinely confusing options, and I think these two were pretty close. Yes. Partially, wholly, this was not really the point. So, eliminated C easily. Does not differentiate memories of different rewards we get by procrastinating. It was not about getting different rewards. Eliminated. B says our brain does not capture the intensity of pleasure we get by procrastination. Let's see if that is true, or otherwise what is the answer? Visceral rewards we were talking about. Yeah. Read this part. Lowenstein also suggests that our memory for the intensity of visceral rewards. So it's not that our brain is not able to capture this at all. It's just that this memory has something lacks in this memory. Our memory for the intensity of these visceral rewards, these this immediate gratification that we get from procrastination, उसकी जो memory है ना वो deficient है. हम recall नहीं कर पाते ये बात कि मुझे कितनी ज़्यादा खुशी मिली थी पिछली बार procrastinate करके. I am not able to recall the extent of happiness that I experienced, okay, when I procrastinated the last time. That's what Lowenstein is trying to say. When we put off preparing for that meeting by telling ourselves that we'll do it tomorrow, we fail to take into account that tomorrow the temptation to put off work will be just as strong. Okay. So basically, my brain is not able to tell me that, see, you are getting such intense pleasure today by procrastinating. So tomorrow, also, you will get such intense pleasure itself. So my brain is not supporting me with these memories. In the past also, I might have done the same thing. So my brain is not supporting me with the memories which will actually help me to stop from procrastinating further. I end up procrastinating further because मैं previous वो नहीं recall कर पा रही हूँ कि अच्छा पिछली बार भी तो इतनी खुशी मिली थी, right? I got so much happiness. So D here, okay, it's not that my brain does not capture it, it's about memories, right? So memories was something that was there in D and E. Now, why is E not the answer? That's the bigger question. Our brain does not support us in recalling intense memories. Which memories? Which intense memories are we talking about? While procrastinating further. That was not the point of Lowenstein. Lowenstein says that our brain is not able to tell us, is not able to bring those memories that yesterday I got such happiness and therefore, if I put it off till tomorrow, then tomorrow also I'll get such happiness only by procrastinating and therefore the temptation will be strong. So basically मेरा brain मेरा साथ नहीं दे रहा मुझे procrastination stop करने में. That's the idea here, and hence D. E is distorted. Which intense memories? And while procrastinating further is not the idea. We don't want to procrastinate further and recall something at the same time. We don't want it at all, right? I hope this makes sense. What I said makes sense, yes? No, if it didn't, then you can ask me. I understand that this is slightly trickier. So इसमें while और E में potentially problematic है while because हम चाहते ही नहीं procrastinate करना. It's not like I want to see something, I want to recall something while doing it. I don't want to do it at all. Okay. Hope this makes sense. So 21 was slightly tricky. Now 22 to 24. This was a long read. Yes, a long read this was. Stories. But the questions were easy. Once you read it, the questions were not that difficult. Not associated with bad storytelling. See, it's bad storytelling anyway. So the moment I read E, no, it is inclusive. I anyway became suspicious of E. And then I went back to cross-check. It was very clearly written right in the beginning that our stories have gotten so divorced from reality, so divisive. And the author is saying that today our stories have become bad stories. So these stories are so divisive. If something is divisive, it can't be inclusive, right? So right from the beginning, it was made clear to us that bad storytelling is not inclusive. Okay. Bickering, yes, if something is bickering, then it makes us fight, right? They were written before 21st century. We do talk about this, that, the stories that have brought us till here, this has been, written and rewritten several times. The latest major update was during the Industrial Revolution. And these stories, see, they have got us so far, they are no longer useful. They've lost their vision. They're petty, they're short-sighted. Okay. They make us stuck in the past. They keep us bickering. So this part was clarified here. So all the others could be clarified from this area. Okay. Whereas this one was not a characteristic. है ना? ये वाला तो easy है. Arey, that's great, Jayant. Yes, past and present. That is the answer. That is the answer there. So essence of the poem, I told you that a lot of times you can get at least the essence of the poem question correct. Best captures the essence of a good story. This is a further application question. right? And it was again easy, because a good story is concerned with the benefit of all the fellow beings. See, it is a story that will inspire us to achieve our common goals and guide us towards a better future for all sentient beings on our planet. So it's not even confined to just my country. It is about all the sentient beings on the planet. Eliminated. Okay. It's not just about economic and industrial growth of India. Eliminated. Our nation, no, that's all sentient beings. Right? ये तो बहुत ही dark और extreme है. This cannot be the answer. Right? So D is the answer. Okay. Now, unreasonable story. See, in case some of you did not read the passage and then you tried to answer this, you may have marked wrong answers here, because the passage mentioned unreasonable story in a positive light. The good story is the unreasonable story, right? Something that is compelling for the entire humanity. We just read about that part, no? And something that may not be factually true right now. Okay, it's an unreasonable story. So we need a new story, a brave story, an unreasonable story, a story that can inspire, unite, and motivate us to break free from the past and create the best possible future, right? So this may not be factually true right now. So 3 and 4. 4 had to be a part of the answer. Once you narrow down to that, 2 does not make sense, because it is not about recreating the past. The author is saying that we should not be stuck in the past. We need a new story, right? Hence 3 and 4. Any queries that you have about VALR, any question that is not clear, please ask me. Some of them were genuinely tricky, right? And I even stated that when I discussed them. In case they're still not clear, please let me know. Okay, we are on the last leg, right? And these are the last 2 questions. This was the poem that was asked from you, right? And here you had to find out something that captured the theme of the poem. See, whenever you have such an option, the poem is meaninglessly brooding over the past. This is an opinion. This could be, let's say, someone's opinion after reading the poem, right? But how can it be the essence of the poem that it is meaninglessly brooding over the past? Lives of the rich and the poor, no such disparities were highlighted. Okay, it was about, yes, leaving someone behind. You're moving on and leaving someone behind. That idea was there. And it also talked about your past with them, right? So A and C is what students narrowed down to here. Celebrating success, mourning losses, no, that idea was also not there. So between these two, we didn't find any dispute that happened between old friends, right? So loss of trust between old friends was not something that was apparent. However, we did talk about a person's present and his or her past. Okay, we talk about that, okay, this person has left some people behind in the past. Now this person is pretty successful, that is there, right? But it focuses more on this person's present and past. See this sentence. He does not see you as a story though. So he does not see you as past though. He feels you as his atmosphere. So in fact, the second question for me cemented this idea that it was about a person's past and present and not really a loss of trust between old friends. No dispute, nothing of that sort was shown. Right? Hope this makes sense. Why A is the answer here? If not, ask me. Poems can be challenging. Best interprets the lines. He does not see you as a story though. He feels you as his atmosphere. So he does not see you as his past. Rather, you are his or her present. His present, right? You are haunted by your past. It's actually not at all about you, right? You are not haunted by your past. Okay. You are an extension. No, for this person, you are the present. It's not like you are the extension of your past. No. For this person, you are not past, rather you are present. You get it? तो आप past हो ही नहीं. You are not a story. He feels you as his atmosphere. You are everywhere at present. C is sort of distorted and incomplete as well. It just talks about the past. It does not talk about this present idea. There's just one option that talks about the present idea as well, and this is D. Your present sort of subsumes, it covers, it includes your past in a way, absorbs your past. So for this person, you are not past, you are rather so important to his or her present, like his or her atmosphere, like his atmosphere, you are important to him, right? So your present is something that is covering, shadowing in a way, or subsuming is covering or including or absorbing. So that is evident from this sentence. Larger than life, not at all, right? So D Delhi is the answer here. I hope this is clear. In case it's not, please ask me, right? And in case you are not convinced about any of the answers that have been extended, then again you can ask me. For the Parajumble question 2, I have told you that even I am not convinced, so you can raise objections there. Okay. Anything else that you wish to ask me, you can. In case your friends are preparing for CAT 2023, or you are thinking of preparing for it, you can enroll for it now. The link is in the description box. It has a lot of features, right, as you can see on your screens. For this, you can also call us at this number, right, and our team will get back to you, right? Then we can stay connected via, of course, YouTube. I hope you've subscribed to the channel. If not, please do it right now. Okay, we'll analyze the DM section as well. QA/DI analysis has happened already. The DM analysis is at 8 p.m. today, right? We can also stay connected via this. Here also we conduct a lot of CAT-based sessions relevant for your 2023. So download the app and you will find a lot of sessions there. Open sessions, free sessions, right? Thank you for watching. I'll keep seeing you for your other exams that are about to happen, TISNET, CMAT, MAT, CT, etc. Right? This is it from my side. Bye-bye. See you.